My name is Daniel Harper, and in the fall of 2024, I was 29, scraping by in a small town called Marion, Illinois, where the biggest landmark was the Walmart supercenter off Route 13. I'd landed there after a string of bad decisions, dropped out of college, burned through a couple of dead-end jobs, and ended a relationship that left me with a leased apartment I could barely afford. The divorce wasn't final yet, but my ex, Rachel, had already moved on, taking our daughter, Ellie, to live with her parents in St. Louis. Child support loomed like a guillotine, and when I saw the now hiring sign at Walmart, I didn't hesitate. The overnight stalker job paid $15 an hour, enough to keep the lights on and maybe save for a visit to see Ellie. I didn't expect to stay long, just until I got back on my feet, but the store had other plans. The Marion Walmart was a behemoth, its parking lot sprawling like a concrete desert under sodium floodlights. During the day, it buzzed with shoppers, moms with carts full of diapers, retirees hunting clearance bins, teens loitering in the electronics aisle. But after 11 p.m., when the automatic doors locked to customers, it became a different beast. The fluorescent lights dimmed to save power, casting a sickly glow that made the aisles feel endless, like tunnels in a dream. The hum of refrigeration units filled the silence, punctuated by the clatter of pallets or the squeak of a coworker's sneakers. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 nights a week, leaving my days for fitful sleep and video calls with Ellie, who'd show me her drawings through a pixelated screen, her 6-year-old voice chirping, "Daddy, when are you coming?" The overnight crew was small but tight-knit. There was Carla, a wiry woman in her 50s who'd worked there for 2 decades, her hands calloused from years of hauling boxes. She had a smoker's rasp and a knack for defusing tension with dark humor. "This place will eat your soul if you let it," she'd say, smirking as she sliced open a box of cereal. Then there was Trey, a 22-year-old with a mohawk and a penchant for sneaking energy drinks from the break room fridge. He'd blast rap through his earbuds, bobbing his head while restocking sporting goods. Our supervisor, Ms. Evelyn, was a no-nonsense woman in her late 40s, always clutching a clipboard, her glasses perched on her nose like a librarian. She'd bark orders but had a soft spot for us, slipping us extra break time when corporate wasn't watching. We were a dozen strong, moving through the aisles like ghosts, restocking shelves to the rhythm of the store's eerie pulse. At first, I liked the routine. There was something meditative about stacking cans of soup or arranging shampoo bottles in neat rows. I'd lose myself in the monotony, thinking of Ellie, her gap-toothed smile, her love for unicorns. I'd wander the toy aisle, picking up a stuffed animal or a puzzle, calculating how many shifts it'd take to buy it. The solitude gave me space to think, to plan a better future. But the night shift had a way of creeping into your bones. Sleep became a stranger. I'd collapse in my 1-bedroom apartment, a dingy place above a pawn shop, where the neon sign outside buzzed louder than the Walmart lights. I'd lie awake, the glow seeping through my blinds, replaying arguments with Rachel. "You're not stable, Dan," she'd said during our last fight. "Ellie needs a father who's present." Her words stung, but they weren't wrong. The first hint of trouble came in early October, during a chilly night when fog clung to the parking lot like a shroud. I was in aisle 9, restocking paper towels, the air heavy with the scent of cardboard and cleaning solution. The lights above flickered, not the whole store, just my section. A quick buzz, then darkness, then light again. I glanced up, assuming a loose bulb. "Ms." Evelyn was always griping about maintenance delays. But then I heard it, a soft, rhythmic tapping like fingers drumming on metal, coming from the next aisle. I froze, my hand on a roll of Bounty. "Trey, I called, thinking he was messing with me. No answer. The tapping stopped, leaving only the hum of the store. I peeked around the corner. Aisle 10, cleaning supplies, was empty, the shelves gleaming under the lights. I shook it off, blaming exhaustion. I'd only slept 4 hours that day, my body running on Red Bull and stubbornness. But the incidents didn't stop. Over the next few weeks, they multiplied like shadows. Lights flickered in aisles I just left, always when I was alone. I'd hear footsteps, light, deliberate, trailing me, only to turn and find nothing but the polished floor reflecting my silhouette. One night in the Lock Garden Center, I caught a glimpse of something moving between the racks of fertilizer bags. A tall, thin shape, too elongated to be human, its edges blurry like a smudge photo. I grabbed my flashlight, its beam jittery, and swept it through the chain link gate. Nothing but shadows and the faint rustle of plastic tarps. "You're tired, Dan," I muttered, rubbing my eyes. I'd read how sleep deprivation could trick the brain, conjuring phantoms from thin air. But my gut told me this wasn't just fatigue. Home was no refuge. My apartment felt claustrophobic, the pawn shop's neon sign casting red flickers across my walls. I'd call Ellie, her face lighting on my phone, but the calls grew strained. Rachel would hover in the background, her voice sharp. "Dan, you look like hell. Are you even sleeping?" I'd lie, saying the job was fine, but the bags under my eyes betrayed me. I started avoiding mirrors. My reflection looked hollow, like the store's shadows were seeping into me. I'd argue with Rachel over visitation, her words cutting deeper each time. Ellie needs stability, not a father who's falling apart. I'd hang up, pacing the apartment, the weight of failure crushing me. I confided in Carla during a break in the employee lounge. A cramped room with chipped tables, a coffee machine that spat sludge, and posters about hand washing. "You ever feel watched in here?" I asked, sipping coffee that tasted like ash. She leaned back, lighting a cigarette despite the no smoking sign. "Kid, this place is creepy as hell at night. But it's probably just the cameras. Corporate's always got eyes on us." She exhaled, smoke curling toward the ceiling. Trey, sprawled on a chair, pulled out an earbud. "Nah, man, it's haunted. Old stalker told me a cashier quit in 19 after seeing a figure in the mirrors by cosmetics. Tall, creepy, gone when you look." He grinned, but his eyes darted to the door. I laughed it off, but my stomach churned. Haunted? Ridiculous. Yet the tapping, the footsteps, they weren't random. The incidents grew bolder. One night, around 1 a.m., I was in the toy aisle arranging Barbie dolls and action figures. The air felt wrong, heavy like a storm was brewing inside the store. A toy train, battery-powered, sitting on a shelf, suddenly whirred to life, chugging a few inches before stopping. I stared, heart thumping. No one was nearby. The aisle was empty. I checked the train, no batteries. As I set it down, a whisper came from behind the shelves, soft but clear. "Play with us." My blood ran cold. I spun, box cutter in hand, its blade glinting. Nothing. But in the reflection of a display case, I saw them, small, pale faces, eyes too big, peering from behind a stack of puzzles. Kids, maybe, but wrong, their mouths stretched into unnatural smiles. I bolted, radioing Miss. "Evelyn, something's in toys." "Check the cameras." Her voice crackled back. "Nothing on the feed, Harper." "Probably a prank." "Get back to work." But her tone was shaky. The dream started that night. I'd see Ellie lost in the store, her voice echoing, "Daddy, find me." The aisles twisted, lights flickered, and those pale faces watched from every corner. I'd wake drenched in sweat, the pawn shop's neon sign pulsing like a heartbeat. Work became a nightmare. I'd jump at every sound, the creak of a shelf, the hum of a freezer. Carla noticed, pulling me aside. "You're scaring me, Dan. Switch to days. This shift's killing you." But days meant less pay, and I needed every cent for Ellie. I pushed through, ignoring the dread pooling in my gut. Then came the restroom incident, the one that broke me. It was late October, a freezing night, snow dusting the parking lot like ash. I needed a break, my bladder protesting the extra coffee. The employee bathrooms were near the stockroom, a row of stalls with flickering lights and the stench of bleach. I entered, the motion sensor lights buzzing on, and locked myself in a stall, scrolling through Ellie's latest drawing, a unicorn with a rainbow mane. Minutes passed in silence. Then, tap, tap, tap. Slow, deliberate knocks from the next stall. My skin prickled. I leaned down, peering under the partition. Black boots, scuffed and still, faced me. "Trey?" "Carla," I called, voice trembling. No answer. The knocking stopped. I stood, heart hammering, and kicked open the neighboring stall. Empty. But on the floor, neatly placed, were those boots, laces untied, soles worn thin. I stumbled back, breath ragged, and ran, nearly crashing into Trey outside. "You okay, man? You're white as a sheet." I couldn't speak, just shook my head and returned to my aisle, clutching my box cutter like a lifeline. I stopped using the bathrooms, holding it until my break outside, where the cold bit my face but felt safer than the store's confines. Home was worse. I'd flinch at shadows, triple check locks. Rachel called one night. "Ellie's asking for you." "When are you visiting?" I snapped, exhaustion fraying my nerves. "When I can, Rachel." "I'm doing my best." We argued, her accusing me of neglecting Ellie, me pleading for time. She hung up, and I sat in the dark, the neon signs buzzed mocking me. Was I losing my mind? Or was the store alive with something sinister? The final straw came on a stormy November night. Thunder shook the building, lightning flashing through the skylights. The power flickered, plunging aisles into darkness before emergency lights cast a red glow. I was in aisle 13, housewares stacking pots, the air electric with static. The whispers returned, louder, a chorus of voices. "Play, stay, forever." I spun, flashlight beam slicing the dark. Eyes gleamed from the toy aisle, dozens of dolls, their heads turned, staring with glassy grins. Then at the aisle's end, the tall figure appeared, gaunt, impossibly tall, its face a pale blur, eyes black voids. "Leave," it hissed, voice like wine through dead leaves. "They want you to stay." I ran, heart pounding, toward the front. The giggles chased me, childlike but wrong, echoing in the red light. Toys fell for shelves, trains, dolls, balls, rolling into my path. I tripped, sprawling on the floor, and saw them. Small figures, pale and twisted, crawling from the shadows, their hands clawing the tiles. I scrambled up, radioing Ms. "Evelyn, something's here. Get everyone out." No response, just static. The lights died again, the red glow pulsing like a heartbeat. I reached the employee lounge, barricading the door with a vending machine. Carla and Trey were inside, huddled, trembling. "You saw them too?" Carla whispered, her face ashen. Trey nodded, clutching a baseball bat from Sporting Goods. "It's the kids." Old-timers said this place was built on a forgotten orphanage that burned down in the 40s. Kids died. They never left. "Ms." Evelyn burst in, her clipboard gone, eyes wide. Storms knocked out the power. Stay put. But the scratching started, nails on the door, the whispers louder. Play with us forever. When the power returned, the noises stopped. We emerged to find aisle 13 trashed, pots scattered, dolls arranged in a circle, their eyes scratched out. The cameras showed nothing but static during the outage. Management called a break-in, but no doors were forced, no alarms tripped. I quit that night, tossing my vest on Ms. Evelyn's desk. I should have left sooner, I said, voice hollow. She nodded, no argument. I moved to St. Louis, closer to Ellie, and took a warehouse job with day hours. I see her every weekend now, building puzzles, watching her draw unicorns. Rachel and I are rebuilding trust slowly. But I avoid Walmarts, especially at night. The shadows linger in my mind, a reminder. Some places hold echoes of the past, restless and hungry. Trust your instincts. Leave before the game begins.